Hey guys, it's Ezra from True North here, and today we're going to be setting up your brand new Seeker. First and foremost, your bike comes mostly assembled. You're going to have to put on the handlebars, front wheel, light and mudguard, then you are ready to roll. Your bike comes with a toolkit that has everything that you need to get the build done, so you don't need to worry about running around trying to find tools. So, to kick things off, we're going to start by removing this faceplate. I've already loosened these up, and then you will just remove the entire faceplate. Super handy to keep the screws and the faceplate. When you put your handlebars on, it's really important that you make sure that these aren't twisted. So just make sure that the cable is nice, free, and loose so that you're in the correct place. Once you've got your handlebars up, you can just check that the handlebars nicely line up before you put the faceplate on. You can just lightly finger tighten these up before getting the Allen key included in your toolkit to tighten these the whole way. You just want to make sure that the handle position is in the best place for you as a rider. So if you are a shorter person, you might want to have the handlebars further back. If you're taller, you might want to have them further forward. We always start tightening up bottom left, top right, bottom right, and then we go top left. And that just ensures that there is an even spread of torque. Once you've got your handlebars in place, what you're going to do is you're actually going to invert the bike. You can get someone to give you a hand with this. The bikes are heavy. Otherwise, if you're strong enough and you've got the space, put something nice down. So either a towel or something that's not going to damage either the handles or the seat. Put the rear brake on, lean it up, and put it over. Now that your bike's inverted, you're ready to put the front wheel on. What you're going to want to check before you put it on is you're going to make sure that your 4-piston hydraulic disc brakes are on the same side as the disc. And you're going to want to make sure that the nuts are loose enough for it to slot in to the front fork. When you put the front wheel assembly into the bike, you just want to make sure that your disc is slotting straight through the disc brake and that any brake spaces for shipping have been removed, and that the washer is on the outside of the fork here underneath the bolt before you tighten that up. So they're sitting there nicely. We're just going to tighten these wheel nuts up so that they're finger tight, and then you're just going to finish this off with your 15mm wrench. Again, get these nice and tight because this is what keeps your front wheel attached to the bike. Once your front wheel is attached to the bike, you're going to go back and get the bike standing up. Okay, so now we have got the front wheel and handlebar assembly on the bike. You're ready to get the small accessories on. So we've got our light, depending on which light you choose and the model you get. Some will come with the light on, others will not. So we've got our front headlight here, and we're going to mount this using 2 short bolts. What you want to do is when you connect the light, which you should do first, is line up the 2 arrows on the connection. Once you've connected the cable, then you're going to fasten the light to the bike using these 2 bolts. Screw it in, get it finger tight before getting your Allen key to finish it off. As a tip, you generally want to position your light slightly down so it's projecting light on the road, not straight up in the air. Once you've completed the main assembly, you're going to want to put the final piece on, which is this front fender. You're going to want to make sure that the long side is facing back and the short side is facing forward. Super easy. You literally slide it through. There's a bolt hole going right through the bridge of the front fork here, and there is a nut and bolt that joins this assembly. Lift it up, slide the bolt through, washer on first, nut goes on second. Get this finger tight. You'll need your 10mm wrench at the back to keep that nut in place, and then you can just torque up this bolt. And just before it goes all the way to the end, make sure that the fender is sitting flush with the top of the fork here to keep that clearance. It comes with a metal bracket, so you can actually just pivot this to make sure that there's equal clearance between the front and the back of the fender. Now that you've got your front assembly all set up, you've got your front wheel on, you've got your fender on and your handlebars and light, this bike is ready to roll. If you've got some accessories, we're going to show you how to put on your passenger footrest, and we're going to show you how to put on your rear rack. Our bikes come standard with rear passenger footrests. They come with 2 nuts and 2 bolts. Super simple. You just attach it to the back of the bike here. You'll take your long bolt, which will have 2 washers on it. 1 washer on the outside straight here. Line it up with the hole. Another washer on the back. This can be a little bit fiddly. And then you're going to put a nut onto the back of this bolt. And then you can just finger tighten this one on. Once you've got the first bolt through, then you're going to do the exact same on the other side. Then you're going to take your 10 mil, secure the nut, and then torque this one all the way up. And again, you want this nice and tight because this is where your passenger is going to be putting all of the weight through their foot. And then again, on the other side. The last accessory that you're going to want to mount on your bike is your rear rack. Your rear rack is attached to the back of the bike by 5 bolts, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and 1 at the rear. The important thing to note is the rear one has a spacer, which is going to give you a nice little gap between the back of the seat and the rear rack itself. So we'll start off by loosening these off, and then we'll put this in place and we will fix it to the bike. Once you've got all 5 of these bolts off, you can put your rear rack in place. So just slide it on and line up the bolt mounting points. Again, you're just getting these in here nice and loose. This is the important part. For the rear bolt, you've got this little spacer here. You want to make sure that the spacer goes in between the rear rack and the bike frame itself. You need to make sure that the washer is at the back of this bolt. Line it up with the hole, and then you get your spacer, slide it in between, slide it through, make sure that you're in the right place, and just get that in finger tight. You're going to want to make sure that the rear rack is nice and flush against the spacer before you tighten up all of these other bolts. So this is nice, gaps closed in the back, and we're ready to tighten this one up. And again, you want to make sure these are nice and torqued up because this is going to hold anything you put on the rear rack in place. Finally, you're going to change Allen keys, and you are going to get the last bolt nice and torqued up that's holding the spacer and the back of the rear rack in place. And there you go, guys. That is your True North Seeker assembled. We've got your front assembly on, we've got your rear passenger pegs and your rear rack. Before you ride, we always recommend going to a bike mechanic for a full safety check to make sure that everything is in place and ready for you to ride safely. Get out there, enjoy your new bike, and thanks for joining the True North family.